All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Missed you guys. We are back after the NBA All-Star break, jumping back into the thick of things. We got 9 NBA games on the slate tonight, like we always do. We're gonna jump into each and every game. I'll give you my lean. We'll talk about the game. I'll give you where my head is at, but all my final plays, what I'm actually gonna be rolling with tonight, will be in the pinned comment. It is updated throughout the day, so make sure to check out the very first comment, the pinned comment right here on this video. But yeah, very excited to jump into it. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We were on an absolute heater. I didn't even have to pay my heat bill because my body was heating my home on a heater prior to the All-Star break. Let's see if we can keep that going. Will we? I don't know, but let's jump into it, guys. We got the Celtics taking on the Pacers here. Pacers at home getting 8 points. Total sitting at 232.5 right now on the season against the spread. These Celtics are 32-26-1. Obviously, I'm a big Celtics fan here. Indiana against the spread 31-28-1 in their last 10 here. Indiana 4-6 against the spread in their last 7 at home. 3-4. The Celtics kind of got things back on track pre-All-Star break. In their last 10, they're 7-3 against the spread and 2-0 in their last 2 at home. In terms of injuries, Jaylen Brown upgraded to probable, and Robert Williams upgraded to probable as well. For Indiana, no major injury updates to note. I will say this, guys, we're coming back from the All-Star break. It's going to be a little dicey. You don't know what teams rested well, what teams didn't. You had guys playing the All-Star break. There may be some distractions, so keep that in mind, that all of these, last 10 games and recent analytics and data and whatnot, those could all be a little skewed just based on the fact that we had some time off here. But nonetheless, I am going to lean the Celtics minus the 8 points here. They're playing good basketball. We've seen it. We know it. Even without their stars, they were hanging or beating teams like Philly or hanging and bringing Milwaukee to overtime. They turned a little bit of a corner after being in, I guess, what a Celtics fan this year would call a little bit of a slump. So I'm going to lean Celtics minus the 8 points. And then in terms of a total, I am going to take a peek at the over here, 232.5. Make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment, like I always say, to see if those do become final plays there. Moving on, we have the Orlando Magic taking on the Pistons in this one. Right now, the Magic are 6-point favorites at home. I've seen it at 7 on a couple books, so I'm thinking that it moves in that direction, but the total is sitting at 227 right now. Last time these two teams played was late December, and Detroit won 121-101. Now, that could be argued that was before Orlando kind of started to get things going here. They're playing really, I guess I shouldn't say they're playing really good basketball, but they're playing very surprising basketball, if I am being honest. 12-6 in their last 18 games against the spread. That being said, I think 6.5 points is a little bit too much to lay if you are the Magic. Looks like their only injury, though, is Cole Anthony. He's upgraded to probable. For Detroit, the only injury to note here will be Jalen Duren, upgraded to probable as well. I know this Pistons team stinks. I know that. I know that deep in my heart, in my big old gut. I know that in my head. This Pistons team isn't a good basketball team right now. But this Orlando team, I don't think is that much better. When I say that much better, I mean 6.5 points better. So by default, I'm kind of fading that number, and I'm going to lean towards Detroit. I doubt this becomes a final play, just in full transparency, but I am going to lean towards Detroit and the under in this game. Moving on, we have Denver traveling to Cleveland here. Cleveland, 2.5 point favorites, total 223 in this one. These two teams played in early January, and Denver took it to Cleveland 121-108 here. In their last 10 games, Denver 7-3 against the spread. Same with Cleveland. Cleveland also at home in their last 6 games, 4-2 against the spread. Now, one thing to note about Denver in their last 5, 2-3 against the spread on the road. So they're playing a lot better at home than they are on the road. In the last 5 at home, they're 5-0, but they're on the road tonight, and that isn't too big of a number for Cleveland to cover here. So I am going to lean towards Cleveland. A couple injuries to note here on Denver side of thing. No Aaron Gordon. Jamal Murray is also questionable here. This Denver team, I think long run is the better team, but coming out of this All-Star break, I do expect the home team to kind of control the pace here. So I'm going to lean Cleveland minus the 2 points. In terms of the total, 223, I really do like the over. I think this one gets up in the 225 to 228 range, so only a couple points of margin there, but I do think that this one goes over. Moving on, we got Memphis traveling to Philly here. Philly hosting as 3.5 point favorites, total sitting at 229.5. This Memphis team has been all over the place here. Last time these two teams played, Memphis won. They're 4.5-point favorites. They won the game by 8 points, 117 to 109. That was the only meeting this season. But in their last 10 games, they're struggling a little bit. 4-6 against the spread. In their last 4 games, they're 1-3 against the spread. We have Philly, who was 5-1 against the spread at home in their last 6 games. No major injuries on either side, other than, I guess, Steven Adams, who we know has been out for a while. I think I'm gonna have to go with the home team here, Philly. Now, I know that this Memphis team can keep it close, so if anyone in the comments would be like, hey, Memphis can keep this close, 3.5 points is too much, I don't think I'd argue all that much, but I do think Philly is the better team here, certainly the better home team right now, so I'm gonna lean towards Philly, minus the 3.5 points, and then in terms of the total, very slightly, I lean towards the under. I think that this one, if Philly gets pace of this game and gets control of it, I think that they grind it out and make it go under here. Moving on, we got the Raptors hosting the Pelicans here. Raptors 6-point favorites here on most books. I know the graphic, I think, says 5.5 here, but this is updated now. 6-point favorites, total 225.5. These two teams played in late November. New Orleans won 126 to 108. That was the only meeting of the season in the last 10 games. 4-5-1 against the spread. Toronto not doing too much better. 4-6 at home. They're 2-2. This is a garbage game, if you ask me. I know Toronto has had some good wins here. New Orleans actually has looked pretty good with some of the guys coming back at times, don't get me wrong, but I really don't have the strongest of stances on this game. If anything, I'm going to lean New Orleans because I think it's a good chunk of points to give them. So I'm going to lean New Orleans, but you can probably tell by my voice and how I'm talking about this game, I don't have the, utmost confidence in this play, and that is just me being fully transparent with you guys. Total sitting at 225.5. I do think that that's probably my play if this were to become a final play, but I have not looked to spend much time on this game. I don't really like it. Moving on, we got Dallas hosting the Spurs. Dallas, 13.5-point favorites here. Total sitting at 235 in this one. This Spurs team probably has given up on basketball at this point. They're 1-9 against the spread in their last 10, 0-10 straight up. This Dallas team, though, at home, 0-2-1 in their last 3 games against the spread at home. Now, this is a team, when I talked about the All-Star break and guys having days off and whatnot, is a very weird game because Dallas made a huge trade to get Kyrie Irving, just, I don't know, a couple weeks or a week before the All-Star break, whatever the dates were, however they shake out. That is a crazy thing to think about. Now they've had this off time. They come back. How are they going to mesh? This is a tricky one for me as well. I think I'm going to sound the psycho alert alarm here and side with the plus 13.5. I've even seen plus 14.5 on a book, so I'm going to lean Spurs. I hate to do it to you guys 2 games in a row, but I doubt this one becomes a final play either. But let's look at the total here. 235, excuse me, right now. I do think there's going to be a lack of defense played in this game, but that is such a high number. This one can stick around, 229 to 220, 229, 232 and still cash. So I'm going to lean towards the under in this one. I think that 235 just seems a little too high, even though I do think that this game could be a game where there's not going to be much defense played. All right, moving on. We got the Jazz hosting OKC. Jazz 2-point favorites here. Total sitting at 239 in this one. Last time they played was last season. Jazz absolutely whooped them. In their last 10 games here, the Jazz are 5-5 against the spread. OKC, the rumbling, covering Thunder, letting us down as of late. They're only 5-5 against the spread, 2-2 in their last 4 games on the road here. I do think that they match up fairly well against this team, though, so I'm going to lean towards OKC getting the points here. I've actually looked at putting this into a teaser, maybe getting some even more points with OKC, but I'm leaning towards OKC here and the under in this one, or 239. All right, we got the Lakers hosting the Warriors. It should be a good game, other than the fact that Steph Curry obviously still out here. LeBron and Anthony Davis both probable with their foot injuries, which you guys, obviously all whatever. They're injured, I guess, but they're on the injury report every single night. Andrew Wiggins also out here. Gary Payton still out for Golden State as well. The Lakers, like I said, I don't even know if I said it yet, but 5.5-point favorites at home. Total sitting at 238 right now. If the Warriors were healthy, I'd be leaning Warriors, but they seem a little bit banged up here. I don't totally love the basketball that they have been playing. Lost 3 of their last 4 games, haven't covered 3 of the last 4. One of those was against the Lakers, in which the Lakers won by 6 points. I don't know if they do it twice, but I am going to lean Lakers here, minus the 5.5 points. LeBron seems to be cooking as of late, so we're leaning Lakers here. In terms of the total, 238.5. I'm going to go towards the under in this one. Again, this would all change if the Warriors were totally healthy, but they're not, so I'm leaning under. All right, we got a decent game. I think this one's going to be an up-tempo game here. Kings taking on the Blazers. 5.5 points are the Kings favored by at home. Total sitting at 239.5. Last time they played was late October, 115 to 108, which makes me think they bounce back with some serious, points and whatnot. Now, does it get to the total? We'll talk about the total in just a second, but I do think that this game sticks around in those, towards that number. In their last 10 games here, the Kings, the covering Kings, 4-6 against the spread. Both the Thunder and the Kings, not the best when it comes to, their late performance, I guess, especially with the nicknames that we've given them. But Portland's also 4-6 against the spread. A bunch of injuries to note on the Portland side of things. Grant is probable. Winslow still out. Anthony Simons is out. Yusuf Nurkic is out still as well. Sacramento, Malik Monk is upgraded to probable. I think that the Kings get this one done here ever so slightly. So I'm going to lean Kings very, very slightly. Could I see Portland hanging with them and, maybe losing by 4 points? Unfortunately, yes. So I doubt this spread becomes a total final play. It just seems a little bit too large for me, but I think the Kings get this one done. And then in terms of a total, I am going to go over. We've been cashing Kings unders because they're always so high, right? Especially with Portland too. But I do think that this is a game that they bounce back. Now, all the numbers, fully transparent. That's why I kind of teased this, right? At the beginning of the pick, fully transparent. This says this game, all the numbers that I've crunched says this game should go under. So only trusting my gut here. Whether or not that becomes a final play, keep an eye on the pinned comment. But 239.5 is a crazy high number. I get it. But these are two teams that played with some pace. Last time they played, it was a very low scoring game. I could see them bouncing back and learning how to score on each other just a little bit more. So I'm going to lean in that direction there, guys. And that is all I have for you guys today as we get back to NBA action. Very, very excited. You know what? Let's pump in some crowd noise. Let's get a cha-ching going. Very excited to jump back into the NBA, guys. Yeah, make sure you should follow me over on Twitter and TikTok as well. They've been popping up on the bottom of the screen as you've been watching this, but we're posting player props and whatnot over there as well. But yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.